Morning from Surrey, England. This is the Pigeon Rambler. Just thought I'd take a few minutes to show you where I started out. The old loft. Humble beginnings. Humble endings actually so far. But we're in something slightly better than this by now. So I put this together on a shoestring. Mostly from wood I had left over from other bits and bobs. Sort of kit box style loft, but it worked. It was all right. I had my first 6 birds in here. I don't know. It's all a bit dilapidated from exposure to the elements now, but there we go. Made a few mistakes with it, but it did the job for a while. But the young birds used to like it and settled in okay. They didn't seem to mind. Oh, that's where these got to. That's handy. I found those for later. I was wondering where they were. Oh, and a spare nest bowl. Well, I'm glad it came out. That's handy. Little aviary on the side. This stuff's quite good. The sort of narrow profile poly roof. Quite light. Used to have to cover it up with a sheet in the summer because otherwise it just got too hot in here, but the rest of the time it worked out well. Plenty of ventilation through the top and through the open aviary, so they were au naturel really. Easy to clean. I tried to reduce the cleaning to a minimum by being clever and putting these drawers of wood pellets underneath, which wasn't a huge success. They swell up when they get wet and damp and go to mush. But it was an idea that I thought. I was trying to reduce the time taken to clear them out. And these were just put in old. These are composting trays for gardening, which were quite useful for the job. Yeah. What else is there about it? This was quite good stuff as well. As a good way of, I made a mistake on the inside in that I should have not economised and used MDF. Horrible, horrible, horrible stuff for outdoors. I should have plied it. Everyone uses ply. There's a reason everyone uses ply. It works. And I tried to cut corners and be cheaper and use MDF because I am a cheapskate. But it goes bowed and wet and horrible. And that's just from moisture in the air. It's fairly waterproof because I use this sort of polythene sheeting stuff. Now this is you get down to builders merchants, they sell it in white and black, and it's used to put over the floor to protect against paint spillage when you're decorating. So it's really cheap. You can cut it with a pair of scissors, and as a way of covering and proofing a ply box, it would be brilliant. Because it doesn't need any maintenance. You can wipe it off with a sponge if it gets a bit tatty. You don't have to paint it. Cheaper than painting it. You staple it on. So this was a success. I'm glad I found that as a product, but sticking it on the MDF wasn't a good move. And then the trap was of course a homemade affair as well. A little landing board, and I just fashioned a sort of, I think they call them Belgian drop traps, but it's basically a triangle with some dowels on the back, and to let the birds out, they hop up and fly out, and that's no problem. But when they drop back in, you secure the thing in the upright position so they can trap in. They can fly in, but they can't fly out up against the bars. Didn't have any losses from that. It's a very simple way of trapping, forming a trap homemade. But we move on. I'm using bobs now, and that works well as well. Quite like these. I like the shape of them, and I like the idea of being able to set the trap and release the trap from outside the loft. That's quite cool. Maybe you can do that with bobs as well. Anyway, this is where we started from. I just thought you'd like to see, and I'll have my feed bowls out, use those later. But I think this is going to get burnt, unless anyone wants a starter pigeon loft for renovation in Surrey, England.